Hello, welcome. This is my design team project for Seven Plaza using her digital collection called Kiss from a Rose. I will be showing you a flip through of this journal and share some information about the paper collection. If you like what you see, you could stay a little longer and watch the creation process of this journal. After seeing the collection, I knew I wanted to stick with a traveler's notebook theme, so I kept the journal elongated and skinny. I knew I wanted a transparent type of cover, so I decided to print the one of the maps from the collection onto acetate. I wanted my next page to be something that had a white background to make it pop. I decided to use Vellum and I folded into an envelope that can store more journal cards to be written on, and these journal cards are cards from the collection. I decorated it and held the envelope together with transparent sticker strips that I also made by printing the images onto transparent sticker paper and regular sticker paper, then cutting them into strips. In this journal, there are 3 signatures. The first signature, I decided to do a waterfall type of page with the journal cards and that you can flip through and write on the inside. I did it to both sides and I just decorated it with some tabs and hardware to give it some dimension. I like to curl up the edges of a lot of my work just to give it a point of interest. And again, some of the tape and the transparent tape. The purpose of the transparent strips of tape was to replace the boo-boo tape because some of them did have a type of boo-boo tape color. The next signature, I just decorated a little bit with some extra journal cards and a clip. On the inside, there is a pocket at the bottom. There is an upside down pocket too if you want to tuck something in. And I used these tags. They were as is in the collection, but I did change them up a little bit by curling these ends inside. And every single tag has a journaling spot to the side. And they do stay open. I'm just a little clumsy. I just stack them up with the same images, doing the same at the bottom to give it a nice 3D type of look and a stack look. Then at the back of the signature, I did attach a notebook with one of the digitals I printed, but I made it a very more lighter so that you can write on it and it won't be too busy and you can read what you write. For the last signature, I tied it together just to make it cute, but you don't really need to. I created a specimen type of cards, inspired specimen, inspired by specimen cards. They have images on the acetate and they're a little bit chunky, so it's kind of 3D. And at the back is journaling space, and they're attached to these bands by Velcro. And I made a total of 4 of them. For the last page of the journal, I made a policy or an envelope with a policy type of closure. And inside the envelope are just some extra journaling cards and tags that I had left over from the project. And they can just go in there. The method of binding that I use for this journal is called strip binding. If you look, you can see they are taped together, and you can see how I did that in the process video. Please forgive me as the recording of this video had a few issues, and I will do my best to edit it and keep it pleasant to watch. Remember, you're from the future, so you know how the journal turned out, and the past me while working on this journal did not, so don't forget to cheer me on. The digital collection that I used for this project. This is my kitty Mimi. The slide through of what is included in her collection is at the bottom left of my screen. If you would like to use the exact same pages as I did, these are the pages. Page 4, page 5, page 7, page 11, page 8. Oh, that was out of order. Page 12, page 13, page 23, page 26, page 27, page 28, and I printed page 27 and 28 again, except with the backing of page 11. And the backing of, oh, I don't know where it went. Oh, it's right here. And the and the backing of page 4. And this is page 29, page 31, and page 30. I did print as well page 6 on 2 acetate pages. I will list the pages on my screen because Mei Mei was also in the shot and it could have been pretty distracting. So I'm going to use page 23 to determine the size of my journal. I'm going to trim just right at that edge there. It's okay if there's a little bit of white showing. I think I might rough up the edges just like how it is here so that there is dimension anyway. While I think about how I'm going to do the cover, well, I kind of have an idea of how I'm going to do the cover. I want to use only part of this front part, and I want to somehow have a part of it with just the acetate. I think that would look really cool. I am going to cut out all of these little journal pages and these tags. I did print all of these on different type of paper. Like for example, this one here I printed on transparent sticker paper. I think I'm gonna use it like a boo-boo tape type of thing. And I printed this on sticker paper, and I'm gonna end up using this more like washi tape. For the tags, I'm only going to cut one, even though I printed 2 of half sizes. And I'm going to use it to layer on top of each other, and you'll see what I mean. Now for this one, I am going to actually cut out the tags. Leave this one intact and then cut this one out. Okay, so we have all 4. The next step is going to be cutting only the leather part out. I'll show you what I mean. like that. I'm not going to cut the tag out. I'm just going to cut around the string a little and then the leather. I might even trim this part here. Yeah, I think I'll do that. And then to match it on this side. Okay, so that's going to go aside. Then for the single-sided card and the double-sided cards, I am going to cut them all out. I've cut all the single-sided ones, and this is going to be like my cascading journal flip-ups. I will probably have them one on each side of the page. I'll leave that aside. Then for these ones, I cut the single-sided one and the double-sided one, and I kept the ones that matched together. And this is going to be my specimen slide type of page. And for the rest of the double-sided ones, I may or may not use them all, but they're going to be the journal card inserts. And I'm going to go ahead and corner around all of these. This one, yeah, I'm probably going to corner around this, but I'll do that after. And for these ones, I am only going to round the bottom part, the corner. They're all going to sit horizontal like this. And I'm just going to round the bottom part. These ones I cut out, but I don't really know exactly how I'm going to use them. And these are two that are left over that I'm going to use to probably decorate. Now I have these tags all cut up. I will ink and do whatever I need to do as I use them. I'm going to set those aside as well. The next ones we are going to use are page 11, page 7, and page 5. These ones are going to be the signature covers or the signature pages. I will start this part right here, and I'm going to trim this down to 7, so it'll be 7 by 7. Okay, so we're going to make 2 more of these 7 by 7. Next, I am going to score these down the middle. So 7 divided by 2 is 3.5 inches. Make sure that they're the right side up. I'm going to be turning these into file folders. So I'll need to mark 3.5 inches right in the middle, and I'm going to bring the line down and then about 1/4 inch to the right and 1/4 inch to the left. And from there, you will connect the dots, and what it will look like is just like a little triangle, like so. And you'll cut out that triangle to notch your page. Oh, see, and then you'll have that look. So what you'll need to do is grab a ruler, and from that little notch right there, you're gonna draw a line all the way down, and that's the line that you're gonna be cutting. Then at the back, same thing from that very point all the way from the point to the top, and you'll be cutting that part off. And you'll be left with something that kind of looks like this. And I am going to round this corner and this corner here, and I'm going to reverse or use a circle punch for this corner and this corner using, or the corner rounder that I will be using is going to be 1/4 size. So the top corner, it's the side with the tab. So you have that. I'll be using a 5/8 circle punch, and I'll just be trimming or just punching about 1/4 inch ways in. And then you'll have that look. And if you have an envelope punch, you could also use that envelope punch to punch here. And I'll show you how to do that. That's the way that I would prefer, but I wanted to do this in case you did not have the same tool. Okay, so I don't know if you can read that, but it says, it's upside down. It says envelope punch. And normally if you put the corners or the edges of the envelope in there, it makes an impression where you can fold the corners of the envelope. I don't know if I'm saying it right. So mark again at 3.5 inches. Then put it into that envelope punch. Make sure it's in the middle. Then you get something that looks like that. And just the same, mark here, cut this way, and at the bottom side, cut this way. I think I like the depth of my other one. Let me grab my other one. Yeah, I like the depth of this one better. And from here, at the point, down, flip it over. At the point, draw it down. Next one. Look at all these lovely folders. Now, I hope all the planning that I did actually works and they'll all fit inside these folders. So my idea is that these folders are going to be signatures and they're going to go into the book. Just like this. I'm going to start with the weathered wood first. And I'm going to blend in a little bit deeper or more into the paper. All right, now for the walnut stain, I am just going to stay near the very edge of the page. You can go like this, just touch the edge to get that, or you can just make smaller circles around the edge, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe not walnut stain, maybe ground espresso would have worked better. But here we are here now. Then I'm going to do the other side. Those are going to be our signatures. Now I'm just going to test to make sure everything fits. I should have done these first so that I know my plan will work. Yeah. Let's see. If I trim that off, I think that would be almost perfect. And I think I will end up bending these over and just giving them a little staple. Not too much. I'm going to leave the black shadow. And what else? I think I'm going to just cut these triangle parts out too to give just a teeny bit more dimension. Yep, that will look super cool. I just inked the edges. I'm going to glue this down. I am not going to glue everything flat to the page. I am going to leave just a little bit out, so probably from here to here. I don't mind using the mini stapler. You'll see that I use it pretty often in all of my projects just because it's quick, it's fast, it's easy. I'm going to glue all of this onto here. Don't know if I want to glue it this way. Okay, after trimming it, this is what it'll look like from the back. If I put enough glue, then the pages shouldn't separate, but even if they partially separate, it doesn't bother me too much. Now when you put this on, you do have some dimension. If you want a little bit more, you can use your fingernails, and I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to curl it up like that. I like the rough look of the edge of the scissors too. So you have to do both. Well, I have to do both. I feel like I have to do both to get the rip look. You see, that looks almost the same. Wow. Get the rip look and the bent look. Yeah, I see a lot of people do this technique and they use the inside of the blade. It probably works really well, but to me, I think it works too well. I'm so afraid that I'm going to be cutting off my fingers. So I just use the dull edge side. Yeah, and these are all going to be curled upward. So you can see these part I cut to about half an inch, and you can peel it from here, which makes it easier. And I like this, so I kept it without cutting it. And there is one strip in here that's not quite half an inch, or maybe there's a few, but relatively close. And I'm going to use the tape to tape here on the outside and on the inside so that it just flips. Oh, this is upside down. Not surprising at all, considering a lot of things I do end up being upside down. I don't want it to be on that fold, the center fold right there. Okay, so this goes like that. If you don't put this part here, it'll settle really well, but I would much rather work at it than have it come apart. I didn't realize that my phone was out of batteries, so I recorded quite a bit before realizing. But this is how everything turned out. Look close up here, you can see the texture. I think this looks pretty cool. I did the same thing I did here, and I stapled it. And right here, I used one of these, and I just ripped it in diagonally and glued here and here. But I only glued along the edges, but not in the middle, just in case I wanted to use these as a pocket for anything. I as well worked on the next one without knowing that my phone had died. I had to pause too many times, I think, and I didn't realize that it was draining the phone battery. What I did was I put the journal cards like a waterfall, just like so, with 3 of them. The bottom one first, second, and third. And I used tape to tape right across of each one. And right there, when you flip up, you'll see that I taped this one, and this one will flip up, and then the last one will flip up, and I did it for both sides. When you do that, though, because these journal cards will be larger than the dimensions that I picked, if I close it, you'll see that there's a slight overhang. So what I did was I took scissors and I just followed the file folder, and that way you get this nice, neat look. And we'll continue with decorating this one. I am gonna put grommets or eyelets. Okay, so now this I will fold over up to there, because if I fold it all the way to the end, you'll see if I flip it over, you'll see this white. So I just want to fold it where the white part is hidden, like that. And I am going to glue it onto itself and then glue it right onto the page. In this part here, it's okay if it's not glued all the way down, because I'm going to lift it up for dimension, and I'm going to rough up all these edges. So again, gluing it onto itself, and then gluing it on to the page, but not all the way here, just just on that little part there. And I'm not going to measure anything, I just know approximately that's how much I want sticking out, and I'm just going to leave it like that. Sometimes I think randomization makes it a little bit more interesting, and right here you can crinkle it or bend it however you like, just so that it looks. I'll show you what I did, just like that. Okay, so you can see that add a lot of dimension to these pages. So my idea for this one is I'm going to do a specimen type slide. What I did was I printed double. I printed this one on a nicer quality paper, because this is going to go on the top. And this was one on just regular cardstock. And I'm going to do a cutout, this acetate in between, and then you'll see hopefully like a section with the map, and then you'll see through, and I think that will look kind of cool. And that's the reason why I will be picking an area that's a little bit more clear so that you can see the image of the map. I normally do like things a little bit uneven, but for the case of these, I want the two cards to be at least the same size. Okay, so what kind of window am I going to do? Well, I don't think I'm going to make them all look the same. I'm just going to pick wherever I think will look the nicest. And I think this will be right here. And I'll just start eyeballing it and cutting. And then we have this. And so far, I think that looks really cool. But what I'm going to do to elevate it a little bit more is I am going to bring this up to give it more dimension. And I forgot, I need to round these corners. I want them to have rounded corners. I just added some tape to help it stay better. That's about there. Just gonna cut it. Make use of all the junk that you've collected over the years. I'm going to glue it to this first, so that way I know that it's going to be in the right place. So this is how it looks like. Just something cute and cool to add. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make 3 more the same way, and then I will be back. So this might be an easier way because it's transparent. You can just mark it on this side instead. I think that's very pretty. This one looks almost like a slide for sure because it's so dark. And then this one. And these are your specimen journal cards because you can write at the back. If this isn't writable, you can put a paper, glue a piece of paper to the back and you can start writing on it. But this is very writable. You see there's a lot of clear space that you can write on, but anything that has a lot of images, you can put some line paper to so that you can write on it, or you can just leave it if you're not the type to journal. It still looks pretty cool. So if I have them like this, partially sticking out. Does that look cool and intriguing? maybe a little bit. Fold this over and treat it like it's a plank. You know, something where you hang pictures on. Fold it over like that twice. And I'm going to use this part because I think that looks the best. I just want something relatively strong for the Velcro to stick on because I'm not going to put Velcro in all four corners. I'm just going to put the Velcro right down the middle of the specimen journal card. And then fold this over like so. And that this a little bit over too. And will it stick out the top of the journal? Yeah, it'll stick up just a little bit to help give it that dimension. Okay, I am probably going to only have it stick out near the top here and just slightly down the bottom. So I didn't need to put as much glue as I did right there. I think I'll do two in the middle just because in case one fails, like becomes no longer sticky, that at least we have one more as a backup. Oops, all of those came together. I think that is super fun, and the Valkyrie and interactive. So that's how this journal page turned out. And let's put them together with the rest and see. Now I have to decide how I want it. I'll probably have this one like there and then this one like that, just how in the same order that I did it. And you can see the cardboard through here, so that makes it pretty cool. Now maybe I might end up tying this journal because so that it doesn't open too much. Just this one alone. But the rest I will leave it like that. And then you'll have a little bit of an accent here because you'll have some strings. Like I said, I wanted to use this part here because I really liked it, the way it looks with that band. I think that's going to look pretty cool. But as you can see, there's not much of a contrast and it's going to be pretty busy. And as well as I wanted to use part of this vellum right here. And you can see it doesn't look like much. It kind of looks like a mess. So I figured if I put a vellum piece here, then you can see the map a lot better. And I think that looks really cool. And as well as I didn't want to completely cover this page because this page looks really pretty. And I thought vellum might do the trick without being so overpowering. Like white is super overpowering. Let's start with the vellum envelope. So I'm just going to fold a tiny bit there so that I know that's where it is. and then fold it over a little bit. Yeah. So that's where I'm gonna fold it, and then that's where I'm gonna cut it. Fold this about a ½ inch down over itself, just like this. Before I continue, I will reinforce that. And what I'm gonna reinforce it with is the one where I printed on a transparent paper. So now I'm going to cut strips of it going this way. I will be back. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, now I have a bunch of these to use as well, and these are partially transparent, so they'll be a really fancy type of tape. And let's see. I did have some that I trimmed a little bit wider, and I think I will use this one. And you see, this is the side that I removed, so it makes peeling a lot easier. And I think this is going to look pretty magical. I hope so anyway. In my head, it seems like it would. This is what it looks like, even though you're not going to be seeing the inside, but you can kind of see it on this side, and I think that will look cool. So I'm going to need to trim that part off. I should have made the line more prominent. And then what am I going to do here? I think I will fold it onto itself again, just because, like I said, the flaps and are going to be used more often, and I don't want it to just rip. And I'm going to cut a tiny bit off there. And I'm going to grab one of these strips and tape it right across. Coincidentally, I picked a piece that I think kind of belongs right next to that one. I have this Vellum puncher or Vellum attacher. When you punch it, it crimps the vellum, and you don't have to glue it, but you could glue it if you want to. I think a lot can go in there. There's still quite a bit of room, but I think this is really pretty, and I'm just going to leave the 4 in there just so that I can see how everything looks as a whole together. Now for this part, I don't know if I want how far more I want it to be. So I think maybe the same, maybe just a little bit shorter than the vellum envelope. I am going to trim off the excess first. So I want to keep just this part just a little bit over that part. So about making it look like it has about a 1/4 inch space, just like that. And this piece is going to sandwich right inside like that. So I'm going to go over with sewing machine. I'm just going to stitch 2 lines. And or should I? Yeah, I'm going to use a zigzag stitch actually. And I will round this corner with a 1/4 inch rounder. So I've stitched it, and this is what it looks like. I think that looks neat. And what I'm going to do is, oh yes, and I rounded these corners as well. I'm going to distress the edges, peel them up, and then I'm going to ink them. I'm stuck with walnut stain because that's what I started using, but I think I should have used like a ground espresso. Would have looked better, I think. And I purposely made the cover smaller than this so that when I put all of this in, there's going to be all this layering coming through. Even if this did extend more, I don't think it'll look bad. I think it looks cool, but it does soften all this texture that you see. I'll try to find one of my wider ones that I trimmed. I think this is a little wider. Yeah, it gives it some interest, and this goes there. I think that's perfect. And then this will be here. Yeah, I think this is looking so good. I'm so excited. Uh, like I said, I had no idea how this was going to turn out, and I think it's looking pretty nice. I will actually do one more, like an envelope at the back, and the envelope will serve as my back cover. And these are the scraps that I have. I don't, maybe I can try to piece together a policy envelope of some sort. While cutting this, I realized that a tall policy envelope's not going to work because when I put these in, it's going to be too deep to reach in. So I am going to have to do a sideways type of envelope. But now that I've trimmed it, I have to brainstorm. Uh, okay, let's start with cutting this part off so that it's even. Okay, I'll trim that off. Okay, so that should work. That should be okay. It's pretty close. Now, what I'm gonna do next is, uh, what am I gonna do next? Okay, so I am going to, oh my goodness, I need a closure as well. Uh, oh, I know, I can use these things. These beautiful pieces. All right. So I'm gonna cut another piece exactly the same size as, well, this one doesn't have to be the same size. It's quite close. It's just a little shy. Doesn't matter. Okay. And I think I will, should I, yeah, I might even make it a little shorter even. Like, so for this part here, I'm not gonna glue here and here because that makes the envelope smaller. I will be gluing at the bottom, so let's glue at the bottom first. I'll be gluing. First, I'm gonna cut it in half. So let's fold in half and use the 1/4 inch rounder. The same for this one. And just to make sure not to glue this onto here, or else you can't put anything in. So just to be sure, there's this little overhang, but I did not put any glue there, just so that this envelope is at its potential for max capacity. And the same on this side. Let's ink, because if I don't ink now while I remember, I will not ink later. I will peel it up and make it look all cool and grungy. And I'll be doing that to other areas of the journal when I start decorating. So I'm thinking I will just put this on the back and then fold it over. So I need to trim it to the right size. Rounder, quarter size, corner rounder. I think, and I'm just going to fold it right down the middle. Now, that was a very convoluted way to make an envelope, but I really wanted to use the scraps. So I was trying to get creative. Okay. So I will be gluing that down. Only on this one's halves, because the other one is a flap and I don't want to glue that flap down. Now we have an envelope, and all of these extra ones can go inside. Put some extra tags to go inside here. Okay, so I can still do a policy closure for this one. Okay, ta-da! I need a brad. And we'll open it. Okay. Now there's a little space for the thread. Make it more secure or more decorative, but I like this tape. I think it looks cool and very decorative. Maybe I can put like a dangle here. I guess that's how it will look like. Okay, so where are we? We have the cover. I decided at the very beginning that whatever I was going to do, I was going to do strip binding. Natasha from Treasure Books has a really good tutorial on that. I will be using this here, but you can use washi tape or you can use regular tape. There's a lot. Oh no, I cut it backwards. You can use washi tape, you can use regular tape, you can use glue and paper, you can use ribbon and glue. So I'm gonna tape here. I'm really sorry about my kitty. She's super curious. Okay. And the point of it is that you are going to tape it onto your next piece. But before you tape it onto your next piece, you want to prep this second page so that you can attach this one. Because we did 2 here, we're going to do 3. So we're going to alternate. Oh, I think I did it too close. So give me a moment here. I'm leaving little white marks wherever I peel this off, but it's okay. It's making more distress. It's just that I'm getting really close to the buckle. And I didn't want to cover the buckle. So, like that. Okay, I think that should be kind of close enough. Okay, so here on the third one, you will go in between and you tape it facing this way. So this one, we have the sticky part this way, but this time we're putting this down this way. Just be careful you're not going to stick it on something. So I'm going to elevate it a little bit with my pair of scissors there. Oops. And I'm going to put it there so that I kind of know where I want the tape to be. Okay, once you pick where you want the tape to be, you just turn it this way. So now the sticky side is up. You can align it where you want. Align it. It's going to be centered for me. I'm going to pick the two middle ones from the front cover, and you're going to tape it onto here. Okay, so now we're going to tape it downward like we had the other one, the sticky side down. Align this like where it's supposed to be. Okay, and then flip it over and put it right onto there and align it here and align this edge here. And we're going to now fold over the one with 3. We keep wanting to alternate like that. Now we're left with 2. 1, 2, 3. Flip it over, center it wherever you want. Now we do the one with 2. The nice thing about this method of binding is that you can bind pages that are just single pages that doesn't have the fold in the middle. And you can bind anything you want, like acetate or envelopes. Now this is 2. Cardboard. Anything your heart desires. I didn't want to use that because it has white, but I will have to color it. Okay, and this folds over or flip it over and align it where you want it to be. And now the third, or you fold over the third. So make sure you're alternating the right ones. So you have to keep track of what you're doing. And the last one we have is the envelope. Flip it over and put it right on top. Align it where I need it to go. Fold over 1 and fold over 2. So this is our journal. Now I might not put some sort of a closure on, but I do want something here because it is a little bit boring. That I'm gonna go into decorating mode. I'll probably speed this up because I don't have too much time left. I said I was gonna make this video short, but making this journal was quite long. If you would like to support me, please like, comment, and subscribe. You can stay if you would like to watch me decorate this in an edited time lapse. Thank you and see you next time.